either 2006 or 2007. I was walking to Walter Library and a big white van stopped in front of me right here. And 6 or 7 Chinese guys got out, shouting in Mandarin, and they all started taking pictures of me. And then they got back in the van and drove off. But it reminded me of the Tiananmen Square videos where you see, plainclothes police officers putting people in big white vans because they're protesting. But I was really shocked that they would try to intimidate an American student on a U.S. campus because of their involvement in the Falun Gong student club. And you can imagine what they might do to like a Chinese international student or maybe scholars who are trying to research topics that are sensitive to the Chinese Communist Party. And I'm able to talk about it openly because I don't have friends or family in China that they could harass or intimidate.
In 1968, the American Association of University Professors published a joint statement on rights and freedoms of students. It states, "Students and student organizations should feel free to examine and discuss all questions of interest to them and to express options publicly and privately. They should always be free to support causes by orderly means which do not disrupt the regular and essential operation of the institution." Many Chinese international students don't enjoy these rights. The Chinese Students and Scholars Association, CSSA, is the official Chinese international student organization. In 2004, Chinese consulate officials from Chicago went to the University of Minnesota to intervene in CSSA activities.
Chris was on the CSSA board at the time. I had a discussion with him about what happened back then. For security reasons, he asked us not to show his face or publish his last name. So Chris, tell me what happened to the CSSA when you were on the board of it.
When I was the student governing body for the Chinese Student and Scholars Association at the University of Minnesota, in my conversation with the president at the time, he said, he's getting contact from the Chinese consulate based in Chicago, and he's getting even funding from them. It was through a check that's directly deposited into his personal account. So I don't know if there's any record or tracking, but he's getting money from the consulate in Chicago. He's getting phone calls. He's getting sort of different directions from the consulate.
In 2004, a Chinese student who practices Falun Gong campaigned to be the CSSA president at the University of Minnesota. Something happened when Chinese officials heard that she practiced Falun Gong, right? Tell me about it.
She's very, very enthusiastic to serve the students at the university. So she decided to campaign for the President post. Obviously, it was not secret that she was practicing. It was known to everybody, including the consulate people. So then I think there was a couple of weeks after that dinner hosted by the Communist consulate from Chicago, a Chinese student from the University of Minnesota who used to serve in the association before several years ago, and all of a sudden put up a social media posts in one of the websites saying, well, he got the news that Falun Gong wanted to take over the Chinese Student and Scholarship Association in University of Minnesota. We cannot let it happen. I decided to run for the president as well. Please support me. And so it was sort of spread across the students within the University of Minnesota. When the election day came, normally there wasn't many students Chinese students coming for that kind of election in the past years, but in that particular year, there's almost 100 people coming, and I think we didn't have a hard evidence, but based on the conversation that the Chinese student who run for the president or run for the chairman against the Falun Gong student, there was a strong push from the Chicago consulate asking him to reach out to different Chinese students, and even the consulate official themselves make phone calls to whoever they knew that are studying in the university.
At a congressional hearing in February, concerns about academic freedom changed into concerns about national security. FBI Director Christopher Wray said Chinese spies are almost everywhere in the academic sector.
I think in this setting, I would just say that the use of non-traditional collectors, especially in the academic setting, whether it's professors, scientists, students, we see in almost every field office that the FBI has around the country. It's not just in major cities, it's in small ones as well. It's across basically every discipline. And I think the level of naivete on the part of the academic sector about this creates its own issues. They're exploiting the very open research and development environment that we have, which we all revere, but they're taking advantage of it. So one of the things we're trying to do is view the China threat as not just a whole of government threat, but a whole of society threat on their end. And I think it's going to take a whole of society response by us. So it's not just the intelligence community, but it's raising awareness within our academic sector, within our private sector as part of the defense.